At the party, Karen was immediately captivated by Utsuki's elegant conversation and graceful manners. Karen immediately dropped her usual reserve and defensiveness, cuddling into his embrace. Samaire, watching from the sidelines, sneered disdainfully at Karen's affected manner. She felt that Karen had been fooled again. After the party, Karen couldn't wait to show off Utsuki to Samaire. Driven by a competitive streak, she desperately wanted to see the quality of Samaire's wealthy boyfriend. This suited Samaire's heart perfectly, so she suggested a 4-person date with their partners. Karen readily agreed. After all, her husband, Kippei, was recovering from his illness and had no time to restrict her actions. Karen decided to make Utsuki her next husband. Samaire had already prepared for this double date. She found an actor named Kei from her drama group to play her wealthy boyfriend. To ensure the role was flawless, Samaire personally compiled a thick stack of materials, meticulously planning every action and line for the double date. Kei, holding the materials, expressed sincere admiration for Samaire. While he wasn't sure what Samaire would ultimately do, he promised to do his best to cooperate with her. To make their relationship feel natural, Samaire and Kei practiced their date for a whole day. She held Kei's arm, and the two of them laughed as they walked, like a real couple. However, this scene was witnessed by Karen. This was the first time Mirai had seen Samaire smile so brightly. He assumed this man was Samaire's real boyfriend, and a sense of disappointment welled up in his heart. In reality, Mirai had developed a different kind of affection for Samaire while helping her. Seeing someone else with Samaire, Mirai finally realized he had fallen in love with her. As night fell, he finally couldn't contain his doubts and took the initiative to meet Samaire. During their meeting, Mirai suppressed his true feelings, declaring that he considered Samaire his best friend. As a friend, he couldn't watch Samaire pursue her dangerous revenge alone. Mirai wanted to help Samaire complete all of her revenge plans. This wasn't driven by admiration for Samaire, but rather by the deep psychological trauma left by his parents during his childhood. It reflected both his extreme hatred for infidelity and his deep regret for his inability to resist as a child. Fate brought him together with Samaire, a woman with whom he shared a common sympathy. He offered to become her accomplice, aiding in her revenge plan. But Samaire declined, determined to pursue her ultimate revenge alone, unwilling to implicate the kind-hearted Mirai. On the day of the date, Karen arrived in full attire, her purpose clear, to outshine Samaire and please Utsuki. Seeing Samaire with her wealthy boyfriend, Karen felt a surge of superiority. Since Samaire wasn't as good-looking as Utsuki, her confidence soared, and she considered herself a cut above Samaire. When Utsuki showed up in a luxury car, Karen's sense of superiority reached its peak, and she felt certain of victory. This was exactly what Samaire wanted. The brighter her smile now, the greater the contrast would be when she broke down and cried later. After arriving at the restaurant, Samaire took some photos of Karen and Utsuki. Then, according to Samaire and Kei's script, Kei would deliberately smudge his lips while eating, and Samaire would pull a tissue from her purse and wipe them for him. Beyond the show of affection, the more important thing was to show Karen her latest handbag. Sure enough, upon seeing the handbag, Karen immediately praised it as a limited edition. Samaire said shyly, "This is a gift my boyfriend flew to Italy to buy for her." Karen's face darkened at this, and she remembered the outdated handbag she'd received for her birthday, and a surge of anger welled up inside her. Utsuki, seeing the handbag's value, couldn't help but wonder about Kei's occupation. Kei humbly explained that he currently manages his parents' assets, in layman's terms, an investor. This remark pierced Karen's nerves. Karen thought to herself, Samaire has found a partner with deep pockets. She suppressed her anger and maintained a calm exterior. Samaire, perceptive, seized the opportunity and decided to deliver a fatal blow to Karen. Samaire and Kei casually asked Utsuki about their honeymoon, deliberately provoking Karen's sensitivity. After all, this was a taboo for Karen. Her marriage was forced upon her without even a wedding banquet, let alone a honeymoon. Karen's face was livid, her emotions on the verge of losing control. To maintain a respectable appearance in front of Utsuki, she struggled to suppress her anger, finally using the excuse of going to the restroom to calm herself. Samayer, seeing this, suggested that Utsuki visit her, something he was eager to do. Karen, upon seeing Utsuki, immediately adopted a defiant air and suggested going somewhere alone. After a few tacit pleasantries, the two of them left side by side. Samayer gazed at their backs, a satisfied smile curling her lips, exactly what she had hoped for. She knew Karen would do anything to win over Utsuki, pushing her boundaries. After thanking Kei and paying her commission, Samayer gracefully departed. However, Kei had a plan for her to go somewhere. The two of them went to Kei's drama rehearsal studio, where Kei wanted Samayer to get to know him better. During these few days of role-playing, Kei discovered he had fallen in love with Samayer and longed to become her real boyfriend. Although Kei hasn't achieved fame yet, he believes he can achieve it in the future through his acting and his work. Just then, he received a call. After hanging up, he confessed that the agency had arranged for him to appear in multiple offline advertising spots. If Karen and Utsuki saw them, his identity as an actor would be exposed, and he might no longer be able to play Samayer's boyfriend. Samayer's face shone with disappointment. Kei couldn't bear it, but he explained that even if he hadn't agreed to the agency, he could still refuse the advertising. Since he had already agreed with Samayer, he would prioritize fulfilling the contract. Samayer immediately stopped him, knowing that this endorsement was a precious opportunity for Kei to debut, and missing it would leave her with a lifelong regret. She suggested reviewing the contract terms and finding a solution that would accommodate all parties. The partnership agreement was valid for 6 months, and the advertising would only be shown at train stations in China. Samayer, judging by this, believed that Karen and Utsuki in Tokyo would be unlikely to see the ads, so she decided to combine revenge with Kei's debut and give it a try. As night fell, Samayer had just arrived home when she received a triumphant call from Karen, announcing her victory. Karen, unable to conceal her excitement, declared that she had won Utsuki's heart, her words filled with the certainty of becoming the president's wife. After hanging up the phone, Samayer confessed, implicitly mocking Karen's ignorance. The man she'd been pursuing was actually married. The affair between a married man and a married woman was a double betrayal set in Samayer's revenge plan. And this was just the beginning. The real drama was yet to come. When they met again, Karen excitedly described to Samayer every aspect of Utsuki's near perfection. Karen was still uneasy about Utsuki's phone being shielded from her, a sense of secrecy that only deepened her belief that he was hiding a secret. So, Samayer proposed a foursome again. She would then help Karen determine if Utsuki was an unfaithful partner. On the day of the date, Samayer deliberately sent Karen and Kei away, and Karen returned, pretending to take a phone call. Alone with Utsuki, Samayer, acting as her friend, questioned Utsuki's true feelings about dating Karen. Utsuki declared loudly he's really dating Karen and he plans to propose to her. Karen beamed at the answer. It turned out to be a carefully orchestrated plot by Samayer. To ensure that Utsuki's words were what Karen wanted to hear, she called Utsuki beforehand, hinting that she harbored suspicions of infidelity. The two then staged the scene together. However, after the scene, Utsuki's interest in Samayer rekindled. Utsuki said the next time Samayer calls, he hopes it's for a date. After leaving the restaurant, Karen kept showing off the limited edition earrings Utsuki had bought for her. From her smug tone, it was clear that she had completely dispelled her doubts about Utsuki. Just when Samayer thought her plan had succeeded, a scene unfolded around the corner that stunned them both. A group of people were handing out flyers for an ad campaign featuring Kei, and his large billboard stood out prominently. Samayer and Kei stood there in shock, confused as to how an ad released in China could appear here. Karen and Isuki quickly stepped forward to take a flyer. They both stared at Kei and asked, "What's going on?" Kei is clearly an investor. How did he become a spokesperson? Kei was speechless for a moment and instinctively looked to Samayer for help.